Hello, everyone. It's Ashley with CourtReserve, and Josh Willie's here today. Josh, we have quite an interesting webinar today.
We
It's all
do.
about maybe the little special buttons that you didn't know existed in CourtReserve. Not that we have any little special buttons. We have, lots of different things that sometimes make a difference. Sometimes when you probably come into live chat support, you're like, I cannot figure this out. And it's that one button. So what Josh has done is he's actually gone through the system and he's put together a great view and a teaching of you today of what we may have forgotten and maybe new buttons that you didn't even know existed today. Would that be a good description, Josh?
That would be, yeah.
Well, hey guys, welcome. We're going to record this. Of course, it'll be up on the CourtReserve YouTube channel later today once Josh gets it uploaded. And then, to put all of your questions, please put them in the Q&A. It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to answer those questions. And I actually, I want to tell people what's coming, but I'm afraid Tim might kill me later. And so since I'm on video, we have so many good integrations coming, a restaurant point of sale coming, a camera system coming, just so many like cool things I want to tell people, but I'm afraid to.
They'll
So
find out soon.
they will for sure. Hey, don't forget, we've got 2 more webinars planned this year. We're going to do some more later on at the end of this year. We're still finalizing what those are. But if you are on the West Coast, Josh and I are actually going to be in Palm Desert starting next Saturday. We're going to come out to the USPTA World Conference. But if you are on the West Coast and you want to meet with us sometime that next week, please let us know. We'll send you the link to get a call or an in-person scheduled. We're going to be at one of the hotels out there in the Palm Desert, and we'd love to meet you. And if you're not, then we're going to plan on having some Catalyst user conferences around the country next year. We're calling it the CourtReserve Bus Tour. No bus involved, but it's going to be great. We're going to make a bunch of different stops. And so hopefully we'll get to meet you guys in person. So without further ado, Josh, here we go.
All right, let's get started. I can share my screen here. All right, great. So, customization and optimization in CourtReserve. There's a lot of different places that we can be doing that customization and that optimization. So, I have sort of broken down this webinar into a few different sections here because I know we'll be kind of going back and forth all around the system. So the first section today will be in communication. The first feature that I will be going over is push notifications. If you don't know what push notifications are going to be a way that your organization can communicate or notify members directly from the CourtReserve mobile app. So this is going to be different from text alerts. This is not something that's sent to the member's phone number. This is a notification that the member will see directly from the CourtReserve mobile app. And if they click on that notification, they get taken directly to that mobile app. This is going to be an additional feature. So if you would like to enable this feature, we'll want to go over to settings on the sidebar, scroll down to the bottom row. And here you're going to see additional features or add-ons if you're on the older pricing structure. And from the additional features or add-on page, we can enable the push notification alert feature. Once we have that enabled, we can be taken to the setup page. And like all other forms of notification, whether that be email or text, we will be able to pick and choose which notifications are going to be sent as push notifications here. If we have subscribe unchecked but active checked, this notification will be disabled for the member by default, but they can manually enable it if they would like to from the personal information page. If we check subscribed, then that means by default this push notification will be sent to these members and it will be enabled, but if they'd like to manually disable it, they can always do so. With push notifications, we do also have an additional tab here, and this is going to be where we can upload our organization's logo. The reason for that is because since this is a notification from the CourtReserve mobile app, members are always going to see the CourtReserve logo with that notification. But we can additionally show our organization's logo, so that way if a member has an account in multiple organizations, they can see which one is sending that specific notification. We also have the ability to bulk send push notifications like we do for emails and text. So if we go to members on the sidebar, we have the bulk text or the bulk push option. When we go to that page, we can send some information that we need to send to the member. And when we go to the next page, we can choose our recipients, and we can also see a preview of what this push notification would look like on the member's mobile phone. A benefit with push notifications is one, again, the notification is coming directly from the CourtReserve app. So if a member clicks on that notification, they get brought directly to the mobile app. They don't get the text alert and then have to go find the app on their phone and navigate to it. This is just something that will directly bring them to the app. And also with that, push notifications do not have any pricing around how many push notifications are sent. This is just part of the text alert and push notification add-on for the price of the add-on. So like text, we have additional $5 for every 500 texts that are sent. But with push notifications, you can send as many as you like to without getting any additional pricing for it. So it can be cheaper on the organization end, and it's also just going to be an easier experience for your members.
Hey, Josh, can I just say something? So Tim and I, we actually at Old Coast Pickleball, the pickleball club that we opened, we use push notifications all the time, specifically around filling classes and programming that have 1 or 2 spots open. Or if we have open courts that, we'd love for people to take advantage of, like same day pricing. I love push notifications because it is a very soft touch to someone's phone. It's not as direct as a text message, but I think push notifications are great because when they do open up their mobile device to come back into your organization, they're going to see some of those notifications. And so again, we love using it. I think it's a great value for what it is. And I would just encourage folks, if you're not using push, it is definitely one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's great. And with note communication, another feature that we have in the system is the ability to customize or add additional information to emails when we are sending out the email system notifications in the system. So for example, if we want to add our cancellation policy to the reservation confirmation notification that a member receives, or if we would like to add our refund policy to the payment receipt notification that a member may be emailed, we can add that information by going to settings on the sidebar, going to the reservation settings row, and going to the email messages page. So from here, if we go to create or edit one of these custom email messages, the first step here is to choose which system notification email that we would like to add this message to. So it can be related to reservations, events, or anything payment related. We can choose if the message that we're adding will be included on the bottom of the notification or the top of the notification. And then we can add any custom messaging that we would like to add to the system notification. So anything we add here is in addition to the information that members already see in that notification. All right, and that goes over the communication aspect of this webinar. So the next section that I have here is booking and event registration. I have one little tip and trick for reservations, one for lessons, and one for events. For reservations, it's going to be the additional feature that we have called court waitlisting. So if a member, wants to book a specific court type at a specific time, but they see that all of the courts have been booked for that time, this feature will allow them to join a wait list. And from there, if that spot opens up, they will get a notification letting them know that that spot is now available for them if they would like to book it. So again, this is an additional feature. So if we want to enable this, we'll want to go back down to the additional features or the add-on row. And on this page here, we are going to be able to enable the court waitlist feature. When we go to the setup page here, this is going to be how we can set up court waitlisting on an organization-wide level. There is going to be a way that we can apply this only to specific custom schedulers, but first I will go over how we enable this for all members in an organization. On the setup page, the only waitlisting type that we have available is called any on waitlist plus viewing scheduler. Basically what this means is if that spot opens up that a member joined the waitlist for, they can join and they can take that spot, but also anyone else viewing the scheduler will be able to take that open spot as well. But the member still gets the benefit of getting the notification that that spot is now open, so that way they can get that notification and try to grab that spot quickly. From here, we can choose if members are going to be allowed to join the waitlist from the member portal. If we have this unchecked, only admins would be able to add members to the waitlist. And then from there, we can allow members to waitlist when desired court type is available. This setting, how it works is, say I have 3 pickleball courts. If all 3 of those pickleball courts are open, a member will not be able to join the waitlist. But if even one of those courts gets taken up, then the waitlist option will be available. If I uncheck this setting, then every single court in that court type would need to be booked in order for a member to join the waitlist. So with this checked, only one court in that court type needs to be booked. With it unchecked, all courts in that court type would need to be booked. We can display the current number of players that are currently on the waitlist for that specific time. And then we can apply the membership booking rules when joining the waitlist. So if I have already booked 2 reservations for this week and we apply the membership booking rules during the waitlist, I would not be able to join the waitlist if I have already hit that maximum restriction amount. If I uncheck it, my booking rules would only apply when I am actually trying to book the reservation after that spot has opened up. So that's going to be the difference there. From there, we can prevent the waitlist X amount of hours out. So if we only want to do it maybe for, maybe last minute bookings or bookings within the next 24 hours, we can do that. And then we can choose which courts we want to apply the waitlist to. So this would set it up on an organization level, but say maybe we only want to offer court waitlisting to specific membership types. Maybe we only want to give this feature to the premium membership at an organization. We can instead set up court waitlisting on a custom scheduler level. So if we are going to set it up that way, we would want to not allow players on the member portal to register to the waitlist on an organization level. Instead, we would want to go back to settings, go to court and ball machine settings, and go to the custom schedulers page. And if I edit a custom scheduler that I have in the system, for example, here I have this custom scheduler specifically for my premium membership, I can scroll down to the bottom of this edit page and I can override the waitlisting settings. So right now on an organization level, I'm not allowing members to join the waitlist from the member portal. But when I override the waitlisting settings on this custom scheduler, that will allow me to apply these settings specifically to this custom scheduler, and it will not apply to any other schedulers in my organization. So if we set this up on a custom scheduler level, and say for this custom scheduler, only the premium membership can see it, then that means only the premium membership members would be able to utilize the court waitlisting feature. So that goes over the tip that I have for reservations. For lessons, I will be going over the Book a Pro scheduler that we offer. So if we go back to settings on the sidebar and we go to instructor settings, we're going to have the Book a Pro setup page right here. In the system by default, if we don't have a Book a Pro scheduler set up, members will not be able to book lessons in your organization and lessons can only be booked from the admin side. The Book a Pro scheduler is going to be what gives members access to booking lessons directly from their account. So if we would like to give members the ability to do that, we can go to the Book a Pro setup page. And if we have any schedulers here already created, we can see them here. But if I go to the edit page and we're setting up this scheduler, I think something that's always important to point out here is we can set up these schedulers so that they're filtered by instructor type, by instructor, by lesson type, and we can also show the scheduler to specific memberships. So depending on how many instructors you have at your organization, depending on if you have different sports at your facility and you have pickleball and tennis pros, maybe if you want to set up a different scheduler for each membership in your organization, we can do all of those different setups here, just depending on how you configure each Book a Pro scheduler that you create in the system. So there's going to be a lot of flexibility here, and I will say how you set this up will most likely differ depending on how many instructors you have, how many different lesson types you have. If you have a lot of different memberships with a lot of different booking rules that you'd like to set up for each one. But I think it's important to know that you have the flexibility to set up these Book a Pro schedulers in many different ways, depending on what you want to offer. And for example, if we have a Book a Pro scheduler for our individual membership, and then we have a different one for our premium membership, if we have all of those set up in different schedulers, we will be able to decide for each membership how much time in advance can an instructor be scheduled, or how many days in advance are we going to show instructor availability for a premium membership versus an individual membership. So there's, again, a lot of different ways you can set up the Book a Pro schedulers. It's most likely going to depend on what you do offer at your organization, the different membership types you may have at your organization. But there's just going to be a lot of different ways that we can customize the setup and the configuration for the Book a Pro schedulers. And then for the last tip that I'll show here is going to be for events. This is really going to be two different setting pages that we have. So for events, if we go to settings and we go to the event settings row, the two pages that I will touch on today are going to be the event defaults and the event tags. The event defaults are going to be the settings that are pre-set up whenever we create any new events moving forward. So if we have a lot of settings that we are applying to 90% of the events that we are creating in our organization, we can just set those settings up automatically on the event defaults page. So that way, every time we create an event, we don't need to manually go in and enable or disable all of those settings. So if we're going to always have a waitlist set up here, if we're always going to have a max registrants of 25, except for a few use cases, we may want to consider setting all of these parameters up as event defaults, so that way you really only need to deal with that setting if you're going outside of this parameter that you set up here. If you're an organization that's really pushing the requirement of payment profiles or upfront payment, we can enable those settings from the event defaults page, so that way you don't need to think about that and set that up manually every single time that you are creating an event. The next page that I will go over is going to be event tags. So if we go back over to the event settings row, we have the tags page on the end of this row. And tags are going to be a way that members or admins can easily filter by different types of events in your organization. So this is going to be sort of an optional way to categorize your events. And here I have a few examples. So if you offer adult, senior, and junior clinics, you can have different tags for each of those event types. If you have different categories, If you have your morning, your afternoon, and your evening clinics, we can use all of those as tags. And when we are creating an event, we just need to apply those tags on the top of the setup page for an event. And then from the member portal, if I go over to my event list, I'm going to be able to easily filter by these tags. So if I'm looking just for the morning clinics, or if I'm looking just for the adult clinics, I can use these tags to very easily filter the specific type of event that I am looking for.
Hey, Josh, another thing that I love about tags is that you can add the emoji to the
Ah,
tag and it
yes.
populates. It just makes it fun, right? So if you're having a strength training class, you can add the little arm pump, the muscle.
Right.
So it's just so cool. You can use your short keys and they actually populate through, and it's just a really cool thing because then it's another eye-catching way to let people easily be able to identify what they want to sign up for.
Right, right. And just adding a little character to your member portal, making it stand out a little bit more and be a little bit unique when you're
Absolutely.
on your organization's member portal. Okay, great. Yeah, so that goes over booking and registration and just the different ways to customize or optimize in the system. The last section that I have for today is going to be the member management and the reporting aspect of this webinar. So the first thing that I will be going over in this section is going to be custom fields. If we go to settings on the sidebar, there's going to be a few different places that we can get to the custom fields page, but the first one we'll see is going to be under reservation settings right here. So when we are creating custom fields, there's going to be a few different custom field categories that we can select depending on where we want to apply this custom field. The first one here is going to be event. This is going to be a custom field that shows up on the event setup page when you are creating or editing an event. And this is going to be entirely on the admin side. So this is not something that is used when a member is needing to add additional information to their event registration. If we're looking to do that, we would want to instead use the event registering category. This is going to be where we can ask for their doubles partner or their shirt size or any information that may be relevant to a specific clinic that we need the member to fill out when they are registering into that specific clinic. We have the member category. So this is going to be a field that would populate on the details page or the personal information page for a member. These are going to be the custom fields that we can also apply to the sign up form. So if there's anything like emergency contact that you need to get from a member when they're creating their account, we can set that up as a member custom field. We have the reservation and the lesson custom field. So when we select this, we can choose which reservation or lesson types this custom field will be eligible for. So if we want to ask some custom questions when a member is booking a private lesson to better understand what they are looking to learn and gain from that lesson, we can always add those different custom fields for reservations and lessons. And then we have a transaction category, which would just be an additional field that you see on the admin payment window. And if you go to the transaction details for a specific payment, you would be able to see that custom field. But with all of these different custom field types, we're going to be able to choose the field type that the member sees. So we can choose the text box option. That's going to be a smaller text box similar to what we see right here. We have text area, which is going to be basically just a larger text box if there is anything that a member needs to fill out that may be a little bit longer than just a few words. And then we have the drop down option. So if you want to pre-create the options that the member would be selecting from, this is going to be how we can choose those different options. We can add additional options if we need more than 4. And then from there, the member would be selecting from what we are typing in for each option. From there, we can choose if that custom field will be required. We can choose if it's going to show on the member portal. So if this is something that members should see on their end. We can choose if this shows on the admin side. So this is going to be something that's visible when maybe a admin is creating a member's account, or when they are registering a member from the admin side, are they going to see this custom field? We can choose if it's going to be enabled, which is basically just saying, should this custom field be visible? And then depending on the type that we choose, we may get a few different additional settings here. If we display on the member grid, that would make this custom field visible on the member list page on the admin side. If we are looking at an event registering custom field, if we show it on the registrant list, that's going to give us an additional info icon next to each registrant's name, and that way we can easily identify the information that they filled out for that custom field. So for example, if I go to the event list and I want to see what members filled out for that custom field, if I'm showing this on the registrant list, I get this info icon and I can see the information that that member had selected. So that goes over custom fields. Another part of member management that you can customize in the system is going to be check-in statuses. So if you are an organization that is using check-in statuses and you sort of just want to manually mark if a member is checked in or if they are a no-show, we can also add additional statuses by going to the organization settings row and then going to the check-in statuses page. From here, if we choose to enable the advanced check-in status, we are going to be able to create check-in statuses. We can choose if they're going to be active, and we can also choose the background color and the text color that we see when we are applying those statuses in reservations or events. With that, we can also choose the order that they would show in when we are adding a status to a member or to a registrant on an event. But this is just a way that you can create more statuses. Maybe there are some use cases that you want to have a specific status for. This is going to be how we can have more than just checked in and no show as statuses here. And the last thing that I will go over is a few tips and tricks with reporting to just make reporting a little bit easier on your end. So when we are under any report in an organization, I'll use the members report as an example here. If we have a report that we are maybe running on a weekly or monthly basis, and we just want to be able to quickly pull that information. So for example, maybe I want to get a list of all members that are currently inactive right now. I can apply all of the filters that I need to. We can scroll down to the outputs. We can apply which outputs are going to be relevant here. And we can also sort these outputs as well. So if we need to change the order of the outputs and also choose which ones we're applying, we can do that here. And then if we click Save Filter or Save Report on this specific report, we can save this report so that we're able to easily just come back to it in the future, and based on the filters we apply, see how that information has changed on a weekly or a monthly basis. We can choose if it's something that only your account would be able to see, or if it's something that all system users in your organization should be able to use. Once we have a filter or a report saved, if we click the Saved Filters or the Saved Reports option, we'll be able to see all of those different saved filters we have, and we can quickly load them. So some examples that I have here, say you're an organization that is really pushing for every member to have a payment profile on their account. If we save a filter that only shows us members with no payment profile, we can run this on a weekly or a monthly basis. And then with the members report, something that I really like here is we have the ability to email, text, or send push notifications to these members. So if you want to just get that list of all members that have no payment profiles, send them a quick email to let them know that your organization is going to need that information, that can be really handy for you. All right. And then another one that I will point out for reporting is, in this case, maybe a little bit more relevant for your transaction or your financial reporting. If we go to something like the sales summary, we can also use this save filter button. But say you want to just filter this report on a monthly basis, or we want to see everything from last week. If we use this drop down to select this week, last week, or current month, or anything like that, when we save this filter and then we load it in the future, it's going to be looking at this setting here rather than the specific dates. So these specific dates will automatically be applied based on what we are choosing in this drop down here. So that can be really handy if you just want to quickly run a financial report based on last week or the current month or last month or the current year. All right, so that goes over everything that I wanted to cover today. Ashley, do we have any questions or anything that
Yeah.
you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, actually, you must have knocked it out of the park because we only have one question so far, and it was from your very first going over emails. Nancy had a question. How do we know what they see already in the email, or what we might want to add as far as the email goes?
Yeah, so if you've already sent email system notifications out to your members and you want maybe just a reference of what that's going to look like, we can take a look at the notification audit log in your organization by going to audits on the sidebar and then looking at notifications. So this would show us really any notifications that have been set based on the filters that we apply here. Let me remove my date filter so we can see a little bit more information. So for example, if I just want to take a look at what the current reservation confirmation email looks like, we can click the details here. If we send it as a push notification, you can see the preview. And if we send it as an email, we can see what that email will look like. And if we add any additional custom information, we'll be able to see that custom information when we click on details. So we'll be able to see exactly what this looks like from the member perspective.
So her next question are there templates already set up? So that's a great question because while you guys were learning and in class, I was actually talking to Tim about some of the upcoming things that we are going to be working on this fall to add to CourtReserve. And a new and improved email designer is coming. And Josh, I believe you're going to work on the ability to create templates within that. Is that right?
Correct, yes. So there's going to be a new email designer that we're working on, and that will include the ability to create templates for emails that you are bulk sending to members. And I don't want to share too much information, but we are looking into how we can allow organizations to customize system notifications as well. We haven't started the development or anything on that, but just know that that is something we have been discussing and will be in the works shortly.
Yeah, and I also got permission to share a couple other things. Account credits is coming. That's super exciting because right now, if a player has a credit on their account, then if an admin is processing a payment, it's automatically going to pull from that credit. And so account credits is like 90% there. It's so exciting because now the admins will have the ability to save that credit and use it for what the player or the member wants. So that's excellent. Save my play integration. I mentioned earlier video cameras, right? We have them at Old Coast Pickleball. It's where the cameras come, you set them up, and then the player can actually say, hey, I want you to record my session on the court. And then it emails the clip to the player. It's such a cool integration. We've been using it at Old Coast for about 4 months now, and the players really love it. GoTab is another integration we're doing. This allows a point of sale restaurant style. So that's another great integration. So if you have a club that, you need a little bit more than your pro shop and selling beers, you want to ring up a burger and some fries and give a tip and a discount. That's what GoTab is going to do. Improved player onboarding. I believe that goes towards maybe the registration page, Josh. Is that right?
So this will have to do with onboarding just on when you're creating an account, also through the branded app, just making the experience for creating an account as a new player easier and just more frictionless when you're going through that process.
Merge members. I know for you existing Court Reserve clubs who have been here, you're the OGs. Merge members is something that's probably exciting for you. And then the last one he is allowing me to talk about is team-based event registration. Yay! That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Because
there's a
then we
lot of
can do,
great stuff that's
I mean,
coming out in October.
yeah. And so team-based registration for events is great because then we can have team-based leagues and things like that. And so that's another
Mhm.
cool, really good. So let's see. Any more questions here? Are the coaches have to be set up on Book a Pro in order for a customer to book them online? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so they would
Yep.
need to be set up as an instructor in your organization in order to add them to a Book a Pro scheduler.
Yep. I know a lot of orgs that use Book a Pro and they love it. It makes it so easy. Even if you don't want them to go ahead and have confirmation of the lesson, just for the notification to the pro's like, oh, can I do this lesson at this time or not? It's great. All right. Before you guys jump off, we have 2 more webinars coming up. Next week is all about your instructors, instructor essentials. So that is going to be about everything instructor. So get your instructors to watch it so they'll know a little bit more about Court Reserve and maybe your front desk as well. So that's going to be a good one. And then in October, Wednesday, October 2nd, perfecting the point of sale. So I know, Josh, you're going to do a great job on that. And we've made some improvements around the point of sale. So that is going to be great. All right. Well, you get great job with all these tips and tricks. I hope everybody learned something new today, even if it was one thing. So don't forget, this will be in the YouTube channel a little bit later today, and we'll see you next week. Have a great
All
day,
right.
everybody.
Thank you all. Bye.